All right. Welcome to our weekly meeting. Welcome, everyone, to the place where we talk about all of the things that beginners do wrong when it comes to crypto. If you are a beginner, remember to learn from the mistakes of others. Otherwise, you will make your own mistakes when you could have just Googled it, right? You could have just asked the ChatGPT AI. That's what I did. I asked what are the biggest mistakes people make, and it gave me mistakes, and now I'm going to give you the perspective on how not to make the mistakes. It's very good. When you're thinking about this whole space, it's so confusing. It's so new and out there. Especially because it's all digital assets, digital gold, digital. Initially, it seems really confusing because you're like, it doesn't make sense why people want these things. The same way it did not make sense why people would want to invest millions and millions of dollars into a bookstore called Amazon, right? And then it turned out, wait, that thing turned into one of the biggest companies in the world that is touching millions of lives, feeding millions of people. It did not make sense why somebody would invest into a simple thing that when you type in a search, it just shows you a result. Okay, you type in a question or a search and it shows you where that is on the internet. That doesn't seem like some magical thing. But then it became one of the best value generation sources because the data that came through turned into Google, and Google monetized it into a $1 trillion company, multi-trillion-dollar company. You know, you would never imagine that a car company would go to $1 trillion, or whatever Tesla went to. But when you understand that it's a network of people that you're getting into, then it starts to click a lot more. That like accessing a company that makes something is one thing, but accessing a system that brings together networks of billions of people to improve their lives can be very valuable, right? So today we're just going to talk about what mistakes beginners make. Okay, so let me just give you a story to start off with. I was starting off in crypto in 2012. Okay, and I'm sitting there, I read the white paper, and it instantly became obvious to me from the white paper of Bitcoin that this is a technology that's built in a way that it's reorganizing the way the internet connects together, right? Old internet, computers hooked up by companies own the computers, companies own the power, companies own all the money. New way of hooking up computers, everybody hooks them up in random places. Everybody who's running computers all share in the prosperity of that organization called Bitcoin, right? But I was a beginner. So I was like, I know enough from learning about finances that beginners always get crushed because beginners run in, they just want to try it, invest and try it. And try it just means lose all of your money and then learn a lesson from it, right? So I didn't run in with all my money. And at that point, I was super broke anyway. I was like living below the poverty line. So what I did is I just sat there and watched. I watched what happened in 2012, and it was mind blowing. It went from single digit dollars to double digit dollars, and then it crashed. And I was like, okay. I looked around and I paid attention to the emotions people were having and how people were thinking about all the stuff and the emotions they were having on the way up and emotions they were having on the way down and what it felt like for them to hold it. I was like, as I'm learning, then it does it again. It goes from double digit dollars to 200 something dollars and then it crashes again. So I was learning about how the game is being played by watching people do it. And also my friends wanted to enter. So I was learning how to enter by helping them enter with their small amounts and stuff. From there, the next time I was like, the next time it happens, I'm going to participate, but I'm going to participate in a small way. Right. So when it crashed in like 14, we were sure that the government is not going to allow a new form of money, a new form of gold to exist, right? And we were sure it's going to die because the whole Mount Gox thing happened, blah, blah, blah. So then, but I was like, if it does it again, I want to participate. But I'm not going to bet the house on it, but I'm going to participate and play in a way that I can win, right? So the next time in like 17, I put in like $3,000. It tripled, went to like $9,000, and I took my money out. And I was like, my goal, my plan in this whole process is to enter, multiply my money, and take my money out. Because last time, I know whoever did that won the game, and whoever hung around and waited for something else to happen or to get too rich got hurt, right? executed that successfully, fantastic, learned how to play the game. And this time around in 2020, I was like, now this time we're going to go much deeper. We're going to go all in with things because now I understand, at least have an idea of how to play the game, and I've been watching it for the last 8 years. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is they rush in and buy the thing without doing any research or doing any due diligence on what they're buying, right? This is a classic beginner move, right? It's hey, I heard kids are getting rich. Okay? And everybody on social media is posting that they're getting rich. My friends are getting rich. I also want to get rich because I don't like my friends getting rich only by themselves. So I want to get rich, so I'm going to run in and buy it now. Now that everybody's telling me that they're getting rich, right? That is, first of all, that's not a reason to buy it. If everybody else is getting rich and you hear about it, by the time you hear about it, it's already too late. Secondly, what are you buying? What are you buying? What is it? Why does anybody want it? Like, imagine your friend comes to you and he goes, hey, I'm getting rich off of piles of shit. I'm getting rich off of piles of human feces, and you see your friend getting rich. You don't go, I think I'm going to go buy piles of human feces and shit. Because logically, you're like, why? How are you getting rich from shit? Like, that makes sense to you. Now I'm telling you, I'm getting rich from dog-eared coins. It's equivalent to shit. I'm getting rich from dog-eared coins. Somebody somewhere got rich from dog-eared coins. And the thing is, you'll hear the story of the person getting rich. You hear the story of the kid who made $1 million in 3 weeks from a dog-eared coin. You will not hear the story of the 10,000 people who lost $1,000 each to whatever, 1,000 people who lost $1,000 each to make that kid $1 million, right? You never hear that story because those people don't like telling those stories. So in this process of not doing research, first of all, people go in with no strategy, right? Imagine this: you're playing a game, any game, and you're playing it against an opponent. You have no plan, no practice, no knowledge of who you're playing against, so no knowledge of how to win the game, and then you run in without a plan and you just want to wing it and win the game, right? Now imagine doing it with your own money. That's what people are doing. Then even once you learn about it, people don't have a plan, right? What are you going to buy? How much are you going to buy? When are you going to buy? Why are you going to buy it? What's its value? How long are you going to hold it? When are you going to get out? What are you going to do with the money? What are the taxes involved? All of this stuff nobody thinks about. They just run in, no strategy, no plan, and you walk into a game where on the other side is Wall Street. And their strategy is this: take all of your money. And they're so good at it because they've been doing it for hundreds of years, and they're singularly focused on taking all of your money, okay? Another big piece about understanding and doing research is people don't understand the macro shifts. And by macro shifts, I mean they don't understand what's going on in the broader picture of things and where this thing fits in and how to participate, right? Like back when in 2012, I looked at the bigger picture and I went, well, governments have control. They're, super controlled about money. Nobody's allowed to create a new version of money. Inside of that picture, there's no way I think they'll allow a new form of money to exist. Let's look at the picture today. Governments are making new forms of money. Crypto has been adopted by governments and adopted by institutions and adopted by all of those players. Inside of that landscape, buying stuff that is the new form of money that is now being talked about on a global stage makes a lot of sense, right? But in the bigger picture of things, right now, understanding that, hey, economies are collapsing, currencies are collapsing, regulations are coming, all these things you have to understand well enough, or at least just have an idea of what's the plan in case this happens or that happens to be able to participate. And in simple terms, beginners invest in things they don't understand, right? It's like I went on YouTube, I found this fat guy. His name is Big Boy Crypto. It should be Big Boy Crypto. His name is BitBoy Crypto. He has 1 million dummies following him, and he said, buy this coin. And because he said buy this coin, I'm going to buy it. And when you ask people what does it do, I don't know. Where's the money coming from? I don't know. I don't even know what it is in the first place. I just know Big Boy Crypto told me to go buy it, right? That's usually the way that it goes. And remember that like when times are good, everybody will be telling you to run into this thing. But when you actually should be buying it, we'll be screaming from the rooftops, buy it, 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 and nobody will buy it, right? So when you hear everybody screaming from the rooftops, go buy it, and everybody singing the same tone, be careful about that. Now, how do you avoid that? First of all, do enough research to answer our classic questions. What does it do, right? Your friend tells you, I'm getting rich off of piles of shit, literal piles of shit. You then have to ask, what does it do? If he goes, well, it's actually manure. I'm getting rich off of selling piles of cow dung manure shit. And you go, oh, what does it do? And he goes, it's organic fertilizer for organic food. And I've cornered the organic food market, and that's how I'm making the money. You'll be like, well, that makes sense. Shit actually helps you grow, you know? And it's funny, in life, shit does help you grow, right? When you go through shit, it helps you grow. So, okay, explain what it does. Then explain where the money is coming from. So your friend tells you, I'm getting rich off of piles of shit, cow shit. You say, where's the money coming from? He goes, well, I'm selling it to organic farmers. And organic farmers are buying a pretty penny for something that's a waste for, cattle ranchers. So that's where I'm making the money. And where's the money coming from? From people who buy the organic food from the farmer, right? That's a pretty logical thing. When it comes to, like, let's say Bitcoin, what does Bitcoin do? When you actually look at it, Bitcoin actually doesn't do anything. It's like gold. When you say, what does Bitcoin do? It exists and it moves. That's all it does. It keeps track of how many Bitcoins each person has, right? If you don't think too deep, that's a really dumb functionality. But that's what gold does, right? Gold exists. I guess it's rare. That's another one for Bitcoin. It's rare, it exists, and people can transact in it, and we know how much each person has, and we've all agreed that this is something that's valuable. That's what Bitcoin does. So to me, that's why Bitcoin's not this like magical, super valuable thing. It's just everybody's agreed that it's valuable, and we're happy to transact in it for real world value. That's why it's valuable. But when you say, what does Ethereum do? I go, okay, well, Ethereum is a network of computers that's hooked up, and you can program it with apps. Okay, wait a minute. It's a computer network that you can program with apps. Last time there was a computer network that you could program with apps, it made a lot of people rich because it helped a lot of people be able to do things in their life that improve their life. So what does Ethereum do? It's a programmable computer system network. That's useful. Okay, that's, even if you can understand it's just that point, that's simple enough. Where's the money coming from? Well, the money from Ethereum should be coming from people who use the apps to add value to their lives, right? Which means the apps get money, which means Ethereum gets money. Okay, at least just that simple sort of understanding of the things that you're buying is super important. If you can't do that, if you can't distill it down to 1 to 2 sentences, okay, maximum 3 sentences if you're one of those verbose, long sentence type people, they like to do the 3-sentence thing. If you can explain it in less than 3 sentences, what it does, great, you've crushed it. You're ready to buy it. If you can explain it in 2 to 3 sentences, that where the money comes from and how it's improving people's lives, or how you see it improving people's lives in the future, then you're allowed to buy it. If you can't answer those 2 questions, do not buy it. It's like crypto is like getting married, right? Picking the right one will improve your life like crazy. Picking the wrong one will mean that you lose all of your money. Simple as that, okay? So at least understand who it is that you're marrying with your money, all right? So that's the first one. Not doing enough research, to recap, not doing enough research, not having strategy, not understanding how the macro world is running and how it fits in within that, investing in things that you don't understand, not being able to explain what it does, not being able to explain where the money comes from, and then you end up marrying some shit coin that is actually a dog. It's just because it has a dog on the front of it, okay? Now, the second point for beginners and crypto mistakes is not understanding the technology behind a coin or a project. This one it's actually the entire world. Like, do you know how this works? Do you know how this works? It's a black square, but it is a magical, magical device. You know, I used to look at this and I used to go, it irked me that I don't know how this magical thing creates the magic that it creates. Yet it controls my life. It controls everybody's lives. You know, 2007, smartphones came out and it took over everybody's lives. And I was like, I would just sit there wondering how this thing works. So then I spent like 10 years of my life studying how each one of the pieces works. Like, you know, what is the screen? How does it light up? How does it create color? How does it filter things? How does the information get sent there? What is code? How does the CPU work? How does an antenna work? What is a camera? How does a camera function? How does it take light and turn it into code and turn it into a thing? How does it get sent? How does it get received? You know, you don't have to do all that. My point is, people use this thing and this thing runs people's lives, but nobody understands how it works. That's precisely why the people who understand how it works run our lives. They are taking control of our children's minds and doing with them exactly what they want because we don't understand it. If you do not understand the technology that's behind crypto, you're hopelessly lost. In simple terms, all it is a bunch of computers hooked up somewhere in a bunch of places across the earth. So it's not just one big company that controls it. Those computers are programmed with logic to say, if this happens, then this happens. If that happens, then that happens. So it's like automation, right? And on that logic, you build apps. One app does finance. One app creates photos that everybody wants, NFTs. One app takes farms and makes them investable. One app has mines that you can invest in. One app is a game, right? So at least just understanding the basics of that, knowing, am I buying a game? Am I buying a computer system? Am I buying an app? What is all this stuff, right? Now, that takes us to the next point. When you understand what the technology does, right? Let's take a game, for example. A game is a game. People play it. People spend time on it, the most important resource on earth. Now, you have to understand the need for it, right? What is the need for a game? Like, I know a lot of parents are like, you don't need to play games, kids are wasting their lives, all this kind of stuff. No, a game is beneficial to people's lives because they get to step out of their reality and they get to go experience another universe. Okay, experiences are everything these days. Kids get to go fly in space. People get to go shoot each other in the head. You know, I mean, the feeling of getting a headshot. If you have not gotten good headshots, you can't imagine. You know, you pick it up, chicka, bop, 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 bop. They're not evil people trying to kill each other. It's actually a stress reliever. Men have a need to have war situations so that we can get all of that energy out because we've been in it for so long. But, you know, the need for a game is that it improves people's lives by giving them pleasure to be able to have an experience. Now, if you're buying a game, if you're buying a coin, and the coin is a functional coin within an app, and you know that that game is a good game, understanding the need for it is the most important, right? What does the technology do? Why is it needed? What's the likelihood that people will use it? That takes us to the next step. You know, in order for you to understand a coin or project, you have to look at like, okay, in the future, will people need it more than they need it now, right? Like Pagaxi is a great example. Or what was the big game? The biggest game? Axie Infinity, right. Axie Infinity, biggest game that launched in like, you know, in this last bull cycle. Everybody's like, Axie Infinity, a lot of people play to earn. A lot of people are earning a living from playing Axie Infinity. As a gamer, I opened up that game. It was severely boring. It was so boring it hurt as a game. It was a terrible game. And I was like, this game sucks. You know, like Mario is a million times more fun than this. Like from the from the 1400s, okay? Like literally tic-tac-toe is like a million times more fun than this. So when you look at like, in the future, are people going to be playing this and using this? I was like, hell no. There's no way people are going to be playing this game because better games are going to come out. So you have to understand the future need for it. Is the need today lower than the need tomorrow? And is there such a need for it that people will use it in the future? Then you buy it. Now, computer systems that you can program with apps. Do you think people are going to need that more in the future than they do now with this world going digital? Yeah, definitely, right? Then you have to look at like, what are the risks in the future, right? So if you're thinking like, oh, DeFi, everybody's like DeFi, 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 DeFi. I'm getting so rich from DeFi. I'm earning golden banana coins and I'm staking them for other banana coins. And I was like, who the hell needs a banana coin? In the future, are people going to need banana coins? What does the banana coin do? Nothing. It gets me golden banana coins. Okay. Where's the money coming from? Bananas. We made up bananas, and you're like, okay, so in the future, let's look at future risks. You're creating decentralized finance. Do you think the centralized finance people are just going to sit by and let you make millions of dollars from bananas that you made up in your head? Do you think a coin that an exchange made up called FTX, coin was called FTT, but FTX made up a coin. Do you think that coin that was made up out of thin air and turned into multi-billion dollars worth of coin, do you think it is going to have any risks in the future? Well, yeah, the guys who create finance, called the US government and governments, they're not going to be very happy when you just start making up your own forms of money and creating it. Do you think they're going to create regulations? Pretty likely. So is it risky for me to buy things that are in DeFi and get into golden bananas? It is extremely risky. That's why you get the kind of returns you get, right? That's why you get the kind of money that you get. Or like privacy coins. My friend is so deep into privacy coins. He's always like, Tim, you got to get into the privacy coins because privacy, privacy, we got to hide the money, privacy. And I'm like, dude, why would I hide money? That's so dumb, right? Like, your plan is what? To take $100,000, put it into these coins, privacy coins, make a shit ton of money where they can't even tell where you made that money. And then your plan is to pull it back out, put it into a bank account and buy a house with it. Do you think nobody's going to ask, is this money laundered? And can you prove to us that this money is not laundered? Like, I would love for the future to be a privacy future, but that's not how this game works, right? So understanding what the technology does, what the need for it is the future usage likely to be higher or lower? What are the risks involved with it in the future? And also just taking all of that inside of a frame that today is not like yesterday. The world we're living in now is absolutely nothing like the world we come from. So using the stocks examples or like stuff our grandparents taught us just doesn't even apply to it. You remember, like my parents did, used to tell us like, become an engineer or a doctor. They were like, make sure you become an engineer or a doctor. Engineering and doctors are the only profession that you will get and you will stay there for the rest of your life and you will get very rich. Okay, I have a friend who's been studying dentistry. He's 36 now, 37. He's been studying his whole life, still trying to become a dentist. You know what he does now? He drives a bus. And by the time he becomes a dentist, we're going to make a robot that does dentistry better than him. So that idea of making decisions in your life now from the way the world used to be is gone. Understand that there's a completely different world coming and make decisions from that perspective, right? Understanding that future perspective. So that's not understanding the technology. That's the mistake that we just discussed. So the next mistake is people like to invest too much money and often into single coins or projects, right? So for example, people were like, Luna's making so much money and I'm going to become a lunatic. They're literally called lunatics. That ticks me off, and I was like, people are like, why aren't you buying Luna? And I was like, because it's useless. It doesn't do anything. It's made by a guy, some kid from, what was it, South Korea or something, and who the powers that be hate, and it's useless. They're like, yeah, but it's making so much money. I'm a lunatic. I'm gonna bet the house on it. I'm like, you're literally running around calling yourself a lunatic. What do you think is gonna happen? At least don't put all of your money on it, unless you're willing to lose all of that money. But people invest too much money in that. You get that feeling, right? You're sitting there and you're like, everybody's getting rich right now. I could put $10,000, which if I lost it, I'd be perfectly fine. But if I put 20,000, I'll make double. You know what? if I put 50, I'll make 5 times the richness that I was going to be. I will be richer than rich. Ha 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 ha. I have a genius plan. I'm going to take a shit ton of money that matters a lot to me and a vast majority of my net worth or money that I need within the next year, and I'm going to put it in here and, then buy a Lambo with it. So that process, you really have to do a risk analysis. You have to look at your life. And again, go back and watch all of our videos. We've been talking about this ad nauseum. You have to look at your life and go, okay, here's a simple way of doing it. How much money, if I couldn't touch for the next 3 years, would I be happy to put into the market? Okay, now say, how much money, if I couldn't touch for the next 5 years, would I be happy to put into the market? It wouldn't make a difference to my life. When you think from that place, those numbers are going to come down a lot because you're going to go, well, within a year, I need to build a house. Within 2 years, I need to do X. Within 3 years, I'm going to need this money to do blah, 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 right? You invest that amount of money. A risk analysis is like, the risk is always 100% downside. So it's like the risk is you will lose 100% of your money. The reward is you could make 200, 300, 500, 1,000% your money, right? So you have to understand that there's a downside risk of 100%. And you have to do a risk analysis for yourself. What's the risk? Let's say you have, $20,000 saved up and it took you 20 years to save it up. I don't know. That's a really long time to save that up, but okay. $20,000, 20 years to save it up. The risk, are you willing to risk all $20,000 and lose that within the next year and have no money left? That's too big of a risk to take to actually benefit from it. Like, another thing is, if once you're doing this analysis of how much money should go into which coins, you then have to understand, okay, what is the basket of things I understand, right? What makes sense to me? One of the biggest reasons why people invest in Bitcoin is because they think it's the safest one out there. No, as a matter of fact, as a monetary fact, people have lost more money on Bitcoin than they have on any other current cryptocurrency. Biggest one, right? People have lost more money on Bitcoin than they have on any other coin. So is it the safest? Not for you if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? You have to create a bucket of things that you do understand, that you do believe in, do a risk analysis of how much you want to risk on which one, and the total amount that you risk is something that you can handle, that you can go to sleep with, okay? Here's another big one. Too common. Beginners fall for scams and frauds, like fraudulent projects, right? Because, on one side, somebody's telling you, well, you go into something safe, like, I don't know, Ethereum or one of these big projects, and you might make, some amount of money, okay? The upside is, 200%, the downside is 100%. But then a project comes along and goes, we have created a new decentralized fashion of reimagining payments on a global scale to blah, 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 decentralized, blah, 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 blockchain, blah, 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 revolutionary, some crap. You know what we're offering? We're offering 8,000% returns per year. What was that? What was that one coin? Iron Finance or something? It wasn't Iron Finance. It was like one of those DeFi coins that promised 8,000% returns. Yeah, somebody came to me and they were like, "Hey, Sim, have you heard about this coin?" And I was like, "Scam." And he's like, "Let me explain it." I was like, "Scam." He's like, "No, it's promising 8,000% scam returns, scam." He's like, "How do you know it's a scam?" And I was like, "Okay, give me your money and I'll give you 80 times your money." And he's like, "No, I'm not gonna do that." I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Because that's a scam." I'm like, "Okay, now a digital platform is telling you that and you're willing to give them your money." So it's like greed is one of the biggest reasons why people invest in scams, because they want to get rich yesterday, right? And they end up getting poor 40 seconds after now. The other reason is because they listen to their friends, right? And this is going to sound really harsh, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's a fact. What you usually will end up doing is you will listen to a friend of yours who's broke, or maybe not broke, but isn't like successful and hasn't successfully shown that they can actually make money from crypto and stuff. And they'll go, "Hey, I just made a bunch of money." On what? On Shmiba Shminu coin, right? On Poopcoin. I made a bunch of money on Poopcoin. And you'll go, you made a bunch of money on Poopcoin? And they go, yeah, I made a bunch of money on Poopcoin. And you'll go, and they'll go, you should buy Poopcoin. And you'll go, well, if you made a bunch of money on Poopcoin, I could definitely make a bunch of money on Poopcoin, you know? And what they are saying is, I put money into Poopcoin, and on a screen, it looks like there is more money sitting there worth of Poopcoin than I put in. That's what they're actually saying, but they don't say that. They say, I just made a bunch of money on Poopcoin. So you listen to your friends who are as terrible investors as you, and end up investing in the things that they're buying. And it's not just even beginners. This is what people did in FTX. This is what VCs did in FTX. Like, you know, giant companies and conglomerates that are the smartest people of investing in the traditional world saw the, you know, people around them putting 10 million, 20 million, $100 million, okay? There was a VC. Sam Bankman-Fried is asking for $100-something million, okay, from this VC. And in the meeting, he's sitting there playing Fortnite or something, a game, okay? And they see him playing the game. And they still gave him the money because they're like, all of our friends are giving him money. So, you know, even the biggest people do this. But they'll listen to their friends. They'll watch their friends in the good times looking like they're making money, and they'll listen to them. Or the second way of doing it is like, I went onto YouTube, and Fatboy Crypto told me that I should buy this coin. And he has 1 million followers. That gives him some kind of social credibility. And if those million people are buying it, I'm going to go buy it. Just blindly following others, right? Here's a really good rule. In life, when everybody goes left, just go right. Like, if I'm somewhere and you give me a choice and I see everybody going left, I will just automatically go right. I don't even care. The probability of me making a better choice by going the opposite of everybody else is always higher than just following like a sheep down the same path. Even if there's a cliff that I fall off of, it's okay. Okay, I've fallen off of many cliffs. But the probability that everybody's headed to a cliff is way higher, because usually everybody's being walked down to the slaughterhouse right away. All right, so falling for scams, it comes from you trying to get rich quick, listening to friends who are usually in the same boat as you, and blindly following others, especially with this like social media, social credit, so the social credibility type of thing, right? You know what it is? The best analysts that I follow have like 50,000 followers, 100,000 followers. Most people don't listen to them. 25,000 followers. If somebody has 1 million, 5 million followers, you really have to pick and choose the right ones. Otherwise, the sheep always follow, you know, the guy taking them to the slaughterhouse. Now, to add to that, a mistake that beginners make is they chase short-term gains and they make impulsive trades. Oh, what I gotta do? I gotta move this over here, like that, like this, so that it's not shirt. All right, sounds good. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic checker, portfolio wrecker. Okay. What was I talking about? Chasing short-term gains and making impulsive trades, okay? You know how long it used to take to double your money 13 years ago if you invested it? You know, you'd make like 8% a year. That should take you, what is that, 7 years? Cyril, how long does it take if you compound at 8% to double your money? I think it's like 7 years, somewhere around there. Around 7-ish years. It would take 7 years to double your money. And that was like, wow, you're crushing the game. That's a fantastic way of doing it. Nowadays, people want to make a 10x within like 40 seconds, right? So everybody's focused on the short-term gains. Like, we literally can't even watch videos longer than a minute. If you're watching this long, I don't know how you're doing it. What's wrong with you? You should go get checked out. Okay, the world needs me to say all of this stuff in 1 minute, right? So chasing that quick money is one of the dumbest things people do in a space that's being built as we speak, that has 100 years of growth ahead of it, that is going to be well beyond the internet's capacity to change the world. Everybody wants to get rich tomorrow. So you know what ends up happening? They get poorer yesterday, right? Chasing quick money. They don't have a long-term strategy. When you ask, like, this always shocks me, but now I'm just getting used to it. I ask people like, why are you investing in crypto? And they go, because I want to make money. And I'm like, okay, when? How much? What's your plan? They're like, I haven't thought about all that. I just want to make money. Okay, well, here's a penny. You made a penny. Are you happy now? No. Okay, how much you want? My friend bought Poopcoin, and now my friend has 10 times his money in Poopcoin. I want 10 times the money. Okay, so your plan is just to do what everybody else is doing late after everybody else comes into it? Yes, okay, you're gonna lose all your money. Long-term strategy is thinking like, okay, the world is shifting to a digital space. Everything is becoming digital. The last time they created apps, it changed the entire world and created trillions of dollars worth of wealth. I could even just look at the apps that they made last time and see what the new version is in this new paradigm. I could participate in that. Okay, they're creating a new version of experiential universe. I could have some of that. Or they're taking all of gold and mountains and crypto or farms and all this stuff, and they're turning it into investment vehicles. I could participate in some of that. Like, having a long-term strategy means having a long-term view of what's going to happen, or at least having an idea towards what's going to happen, and then planning according to that. And along that, you have to think like, am I willing to play this for 3 years? Am I willing to play this game for 5 years? What happens if I don't make any money for 3 years? How do I react? What's my plan? Blah, 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 blah. Another big thing is like, people make these decisions when they're emotional, right? It's like this, right? Do you decide who to marry when you are depressed in a corner? Like, is that the moment that you're like, I'm gonna select my life mate, right? Or do you, like, when you're like just completely jumping for joy, running around, screaming off the top of your head, partying on drugs, is that when you go, this is when I need to select a life mate? Both of those are not wise. Usually you're like in a calm state, chill state, and you're going to be like, okay, I'm leveled, I'm not high, and I'm not low, and I'm going to decide logically who I'm going to marry and let my heart tell me and tune into it and stuff, right? Whereas with crypto, people are like, oh my God, everybody's getting rich, take my money, you know? Or it's like, oh my God, I'm so scared, it's so fearful, I'm not spending any money at anything, and I'm just gonna go get fearful, you know? The fearful part is right. You should be scared, and you shouldn't put in money when you're scared as shit. It's you need to come back to center and not be emotional, and that's when you actually make trades, and that's when you actually have a strategy and you focus on the gains. If you're focusing on the short term, you're gonna get hurt. Think long term. And if you're doing things impulsively from an emotional space, oh my God, you're just literally playing the emotional game that everybody wants you to play. Okay. So now, let's recap. Most people don't do enough research. Most people don't understand the technology behind it. Most people put way too much money into it. They fall for scams. They chase short-term gains. And then they make impulsive trades. Okay? If you get past all of that, let's say you have those things in control. Most people don't know how to diversify their portfolio. And this part I totally get. This is not most beginners' fault. It's really complicated in this space, right? What most people do is they'll go, okay, well, Ethereum's doing good, I'm gonna get Ethereum. Cardano's doing good, I'm gonna get Cardano. Solana's doing good, I'm gonna get Solana. Polkadot is doing good, I'm gonna get Polkadot. Luna's doing good, I'm gonna get Luna. Okay? In reality, when you actually look at what do, they're all just computer systems that are hooked up to do something, to program. If all you have in your portfolio are just a bunch of computer systems that are hooked up to do something, if a regulation comes along and is meant specifically for computer systems that do something, all of your portfolio gets hit, right? Whereas like spreading it out and thinking like, well, I'm gonna get some Bitcoin because I think it's like digital gold. I'm gonna get Ethereum and Cardano because they're computer systems that do stuff. I'm gonna get, I don't know, XYZ coin, that's an app. I'm gonna get a little bit of gaming. I'm gonna get a little bit of metaverse, you know? So spreading it out within multiple use cases, multiple things that they do, you know, a game, a metaverse play, a computer system that does something, a finance something, a gold, that kind of like spreading it out between multiple different sectors and multiple different use cases is important. And if you do not know what I just said, pause, stop, please go learn about these things. Answer the question what it does, and then have things that in your portfolio you should have a spread, right? Now, when most people do this exercise, what they end up doing is they're like, well, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna get that, 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 I'm gonna get, and they just have like a 25 coin list of things that they're getting. Even if they understand what they're doing, and they over diversify, right? What ends up happening then is like you got 25 things that you can't keep up with. And you're not gonna know when Luna's collapsing. Because you are going to be focused, you can't focus on 25 things. So 7 things, okay. The human mind can focus on 7 things if you're a busy bee. 5 things are good. At least 3 to 4 things is recommended for you to actually have in your portfolio, right? Now, here's another side tip, right? What's a coin? What's a coin? Why do I want coins? How the hell does a coin mean buying a computer system? What? What does the coin even do? Right? That's a pretty good one. Let's really think about it. Okay. There's a bunch of computers that are hooked up that people are running at their houses. Let's say Ethereum. It's a bunch of computers that are hooked up that are running at people's houses. People pay for the computer, they pay for the electricity, they pay for the cooling, they pay for the space and labor required to run it and stuff. So somebody's got to pay them to run those things. So that's where the coins come in. That's why they created a bunch of Ethereum coins. And the people who are running the computers, this was happening recently, changed now, but the people who are running the computers are getting paid in these coins for doing that work and paying for electricity and all this stuff. That's why those coins are valuable. That's how those coins tie together. If there's an app that's built on those computers, these coins are necessary to run the app because the app has to pay for computer power and pay for the whole functionality. These coins pay for the functionality in the app. That's how it's tied together. Okay, just a side tip. So going back to my point, if you have 5 things in your portfolio, you can keep up with them and keep up with the developments, right? Because this space shifts fast. FTX is shit. Binance is great. Run from Binance. Luna is one of the best performing assets. Luna just lost everybody's money. Like it literally moves on a dime. So for you to be able to keep up with things and be able to understand what's going on and participate in a way that allows you to stay on top of things is really important. Because they change fast today. Everything is being done by humans, and then boom, everything is being done by AI. Like it literally happened in a month? Within a month, we all went from doing our jobs manually to just getting AI to do it. And yeah, me, but a lot of people, you too, don't lie, everybody's now using AI to do these things. This video, all these shorts and stuff we're making get put through AIs, right? So things are changing fast. Everything changes on its head. So you got to keep up with it, right? That's why having 5 coins you can keep up with. At least have news that you can listen to and stuff. Now here's a mistake that's becoming obvious to people today, but a side mistake that the beginners are making is they are trusting the structures of the old system. They're trusting governments, they're trusting banks, they're trusting institutions, right? We learned that lesson. We trusted Google, trusted Facebook, trusted all of these guys. You know what happened with that. They took control and just took over the entire world. And we're like, Google, I thought you said do no evil. And Google's like, just do a little bit of evil, just like teensy bit of evil. Come on, guys, right? So when you're trusting your government, do you think your government cares about you? If you think your government gives a shit about you, if you haven't realized that by now, I'm really sorry. Do you think your bank has your money and is going to give it back to you? It's going to give it back to everybody. Has any bank in history ever given all of the money back to the people that they had? Pop quiz. Raise your digital hand if you think that banks have, any bank in history, and I mean all the way back to the Roman times, has ever given all of the money they owed to people back to people. I don't see any hands. Okay? You're right. You win the pop quiz. No bank in history has ever given everybody's money back because they don't have it. They make it on stupid bets. Okay? Like now, I've been telling people, get your money out of banks. Get your money out of banks. Put it in different countries. Move it across oceans. And now, the Russians were the first. They got cut off from SWIFT. Money go bye-bye. Russian walkie-walkie on the road. No car. Then Canadians were protesting. Their money got taken. Nobody gave a shit. Chinese, right now, as we speak, trying to get money. No money. Goodbye. Now, SWIFT is being blocked for crypto heads. So now, if you want to get if you're living somewhere where you need to move your money and you need to use the SWIFT system to move your dollars, sorry, no. Call Bank of America, try to get your money out of there. Sorry, no. It's just a fact. So trusting banks, trusting governments, all of these kind of things is one of the biggest mistakes beginners make. And not even beginners, just people, right? If you're used to that old system and you're used to trusting banks, you're like, well, the banks ran perfectly fine. I've been with this bank for 37 years. For 70,000 years, I've been with this bank, and this bank has always done me well. Well, you weren't alive in 1930, were you? Because everybody put their gold in the banks. And you know what the banks did? They just went, we're taking it. We're giving you worthless paper dollars. Same thing's about to happen now, okay? There's new regulations coming out that are going to completely blow people's minds. And if you have not made your money liquid, you're going to pay the price very soon. And people are already paying it. I'm already working with people, and I have been working with people, but now it's become a much bigger thing. I'm already hearing from people that they literally can't even pull their money out of the bank and get it to a place in cash so that they can actually use it, right? In this whole process, right? If you do not have a 1-year plan, a 3-year plan, and a 5-year plan, at least, please create it. I've literally screamed from the rooftops. I've given you all of my consulting workflows. I've given you the documents. I put it on my website for free. Go back and watch all of these videos. You can build your own plan. Please build it. If you do not know what your plan is for the next 3 years, whatever you plan is not going to go the way that you expect it to go. I don't even know what's going to happen. But at least, my plan, I'm like, well, I got a farm with food, so I'll be good no matter what happens. My plan is to build digital assets and move my wealth and other people's wealth into systems which are hooked into the new system. My plan is to diversify the money across different bank accounts in different countries. Become physically fit, become spiritually fit, become mentally fit, and then I have a specific crypto plan, which I'm not going to go through right now, but it's specific to how I want to operate in this space. And if I couldn't touch that money for 3 years, I'd be okay because I have business plans. And if you don't have a plan, at least plan to plan. Your plan should be, I'm going to make a plan. That's a good plan. That's the first plan. Then follow through on that plan and create your plan. In Indonesia, we say plan, which means slowly. Okay? So plan. Okay? Now here's a big one. You know how many sweet souls I've seen walk into crypto during the good times with like high energy, and they're like, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to invest in cryptocurrency because everybody is getting rich and I'm ready for the shift of my life. I'm going to change my financial freedom. A year later, they look like they've aged like 30 years. They go in looking like Obama when he went into the presidency, and they come out looking like Biden. Remember what happened to Obama? His hair went white and stuff. Literally, and then they go through the roller coaster, the tumbler we call crypto, which is like, yeah, you have a lot of money. You are completely broken, homeless. Oh my God, you might go up. No, you won't. Ha ha ha. Go back to being poverty, and then a year later, 2 years later, they are just completely broken because they do not understand the inherent volatility of this market, especially people coming from like stock markets and housing markets. They're like, yeah, I bought a house and the house just went up. Except for 2008, that one time, and then except for the 80s and the 70s. Other than that, up. And you come from a world which moves on the pace of years. And you're entering a world that moves at the pace of seconds. And you come in and the volatility is just insane. And you know what it is? It's selective too, where it's like, when it goes from like $3,000 to $70,000 Bitcoin, nobody's complaining about volatility. As a matter of fact, that's the point. Everybody's like a light flower floating around. And then when it goes from $70,000 to like 15, that's when you're like, oh, I don't think I like this. You know, it's like on the roller coaster, right? When you're going up, nobody's complaining. And then when it drops, everybody's like, ah! And then they stop screaming, and then it goes up again, and then everybody's chilling. You know, if you put yourself on a roller coaster, get ready to throw up, especially this roller coaster, right? But not being prepared for the volatility and the risk that exists in this market. People don't understand that risk equals reward. The more reward you want, the bigger risk you are taking. And if you're entering this market, you're taking the risk that you are going to. I have a friend in Canada, right? When the crypto went up, he put his money into, what was it? Crypto.com coin, CRO, right? And it goes up and he makes 5 times money, or it looks like he's making 5 times, and he's super happy, 10 times. And I'm like, dude, take your profits. He's like, no, I'm not going to take profits. This is going to go on forever. Daddy's going to get rich tomorrow. It falls off of a cliff and he literally gets diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome, and starts throwing up every day. He's shitting himself, literally shitting himself, and can't function, starts throwing up, and still doesn't sell it, and has rode it all the way back down, right? Because he wasn't ready for this whole thing. And then he just quit, sold it at the bottom, and left, right? So you got to be ready for this insane volatility that's here. Know that you're riding a roller coaster, and you're going to make it to the other side, and your plan is to get to the other side, right? So for that, you got to build a plan that you know which roller coasters you're going to ride, and you know which ones you're not going to ride, right? Like for me, those spinny ones, I hate the spinny ones. I can't stand like being spun in a circle and my head gets all messed up and I just feel like shit. So I know my system, spinny, no. I like drops. I like the one that just takes you straight up and just lets you go and lets you fall. I'm like, ah, and my stomach handles it well. It's just like, 5 seconds of drop and I'm good and I'm happy and I'm back on the ground again, right? Somebody else loves those spinny ones, but they hate the dropping ones. Same thing here. Are you like a super chill, super calm person who thinks very long term and can easily go to sleep when you take insane amounts of risk? Have you done that in your life? Okay, well in that case, you can I mean, I'm not saying you should, but you can take more risk. You can enter things that are more volatile. You can risk more money and still be able to go to sleep with it because you can earn it back. You might be okay with higher levels of risk. Are you a person that is always anxious and always nervous and your nervous system is like peaked? So like, even if like a bug jumps, you like freak out? Are you like that nervous? Are you somebody who like just can't even go to sleep if everything's not perfect? Then you should not be taking insane amounts of risk, especially in this market. Maybe you shouldn't even enter this market. Are you somebody who, your self-worth is attached to money and every time it drops, you just feel horrendous about yourself and you ruin your own life? Then don't come here. Are you somebody who, feels, is connected in a way so that you don't feel that your self-worth is attached to money, or maybe this amount of money wouldn't make a difference to you? You have to understand all of those things and build a plan that fits your needs. An anxious person takes the least amount of risk with the smallest amount of money so that they can go to sleep. A calm person with good cash flow, with long-term thinking, can take a higher level of risk, understanding if they lost it, they'd make it back, right? There's differences in which roller coaster we ride. It's like, wait, where did I go? Oh, I skipped a few things. So, in the not being prepared for volatility, you have to understand that this is an emotional game. That when it's low, scare you into thinking it's going to go lower so you don't buy it. When it goes up, convince you that it's going to go on forever so you don't sell it, right? You need to understand that that's the game that's being played. So when you are scared and it feels like, holy shit, it's going to keep going lower, I'm scared of this whole thing, and you understand it and you follow the previous things, then you buy it. When you're scared, you buy it. When you're super happy, you sell it. You have to go backwards of your thinking, right? Now, that takes me to my next point, which is one of the biggest mistakes beginners made is they don't even have an exit strategy. Like even the people who get in with a plan, I'm like, what's your plan to get the money out? And they're like, what the who the? Get the money out the where the? I never even thought about getting money out. Okay, so you never even thought about getting the money out. You never sent the vibration to the universe to say, I'm going to get the money out. Do you think you're going to get the money out? Sequence, right? All he's thinking about is hiding his money in a place so that the governments can't take it. Okay. Entry plan, I guess you have figured out. What's your plan to get the money out? Like, what do you want to do with it? Are you going to eat privacy coins? No. I want to get a house. I want to get a car. I want to live a good life. I want to buy a farm. Okay. How are you going to get that money out? How are you going to put it into your bank? Which bank? Does SWIFT even work? Are they going to ask for money laundering? Proof that you didn't launder the money. Nobody has an exit strategy. So part of an exit strategy is you need to have a profit-taking strategy. You need to understand, okay, I'm going to put in this much money. At this point, I'm going to take out this much. At this point, I'm going to take out this much. At this point, I'm going to take out all the money that I put in so I can't lose the money. And then this is how I'm going to take out money, right? A good few strategies is like have a trend-based stop-loss strategy, which we've talked about before. We'll talk about it when the profit-taking part comes. But have a plan so that you follow the trend and you have stop losses set so that you can get your money out. You won't get all the money out, but you can get at least a bit of money out. Or it goes up a certain amount and I take out a certain amount. It goes up another certain amount, I take out a certain amount. That's another strategy that some people use. Or I put in $100,000 when as soon as it hits 200,000, I'm taking out my 100,000. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but if you don't even have this planned out, you're not going to get your money out. Another kind of add-on to that is setting up off-ramps, right? I 2 years ago, well, 2.5 years ago now, the Financial Action Task Force released the regulations, and we could see it coming that they're going to block people out of the financial system from participating in crypto. So then I was like, okay, well, we got to set up off-ramps, and off-ramps is how you get your money out to where you need, right? Let's say you put in money from the US, dollars into the crypto, you live in Indonesia. What if the SWIFT system doesn't work? How do I get my money out? Well, what I could do is I could set up a crypto exchange here that's connected to the Indonesian banking system, not through SWIFT. I could take my money from the American exchange, put it into an Indonesian exchange, convert it into Indonesian rupiah, and put it in the bank account. That's an off-ramp. It doesn't use SWIFT. Now, if SWIFT goes down, I'm good, right? Or, I have a company set up, and I could take my money out through the company, and then, then it would work. But what people also don't do is they never even test it. They never even check. Say, keep putting money in, and then never even check if I can get the money out. Because usually especially places like Coinbase and a bunch of places, you can put all the money in you want. But the moment you ask for it back, they go, can you send us your passport? Okay. Can you give us a proof of source of funds? Okay. Can you tell us your mother's maiden name? Okay. Can you send us a hair sample and a blood sample and a stool sample? Can you stand on your head and tap your stomach and rub it in circles? They'll just put you in the ringer to try to get your money out. So nobody even checks, nobody has a plan, nobody tests it, nobody has off-ramps, okay? So not having an exit strategy is you telling the universe, I'm not planning on exiting, and usually those people lose all their money. Now, often, if you don't know what's going on, you won't even get a financial advisor. This is where, I'll tell you my story, right? I had no plan of, I'm not a financial advisor, but I am an advisor when it comes to these things in crypto, right? I assist people. I'm a consultant that consults them on how to understand all of these things. People don't even ask. They just run in, try it, lose all their money, and then they're like, oh shit, I could have just paid somebody $1,000 to actually show me how to do this, and I could have saved $100,000 that I lost. Not reaching out for expertise to build the plan if you feel scared around it is a costly mistake that most people make. So my plan was not to do any of this. I just started talking and telling people how to do this. And then people were like, can you please help me do it? And I was like, okay, I guess. I came here to retire. And now it's turned into so much that I'm sometimes regretting even doing it. But the point is, having somebody help you with the plan is really important, because you will build a plan that fits your needs. You will understand the tax implications, right? Part of an exit strategy is I'm going to take all this money out. How much tax is it going to cost you? How do you minimize that? How are you going to, set up tax loss harvesting? Is this better for you to have it in your corporation, or is it better to have it on your personal? What is your jurisdiction? What is your personal risk profile? How do you understand risk? How do you build around that? How do you align it with your goals? How do you set up things in a way so you don't go down places where you end up getting yourself in trouble. All of that can be helped by actually reaching out for help. And yes, if you need my help, reach out. If we have time, we can actually help you with that. Now, on one side, it's not listening to, not even having some kind of expert to help you with it. On the flip side is a lot of people just listen to one guy. I went on YouTube. I found Fat Boy Crypto. He says all of the things that agree with the way I want to imagine the world to be. So I'm just going to listen to this echo chamber, and they're always telling me things are going up. So then I'm just going to listen to that, right? Like in 2021, everybody was like, we're going to 100K. We're going to 100K. We all just started, people just started chanting, we're going to 100K. We're going to 100K. There was very few people that were saying, actually, here's a bunch of reasons we're not going to 100K. Listening to both of those sides was what helped me, because I was like, well, you're making some really good points about not going to 100K while all these so-called experts are saying that we're going to go to 100K. So having a balanced perspective and not just listening to people who are confirming the biases that you have will save you over the long term, right? Now, another piece of that is you got to listen to experts from all the different spaces, right? Not all the different spaces, but whatever resonates with you. That's why I listen to historical experts that study history. Then I listen to macro experts who tell me how the world works and how finances work within that. Then I listen to stock experts, so to understand how do stocks fit into all that. And then I listen to crypto experts. So it's like, what is that whole framework looking like? And they feel like, Sim, I don't have time. I thought this was for beginners. You're being all complicated with all this shit. That's why we do the market analysis the way that we do. We bring you all of these experts concentrated into one chart, and you can understand all of these things in simple terms. Okay, so like, even that's what I'm saying. I don't want people just to listen to me. I'm helping them listen to a conglomerate or a group of experts that have been right in the past, and we're bringing that to you. But don't just listen to me either. Like, if you're just listening to me and you're making life decisions from just listening to me, that's stupid. You should listen to people who disagree with me and people from all different facets of life that actually paint a better picture for you, and then make your own damn decisions in this whole process, right? Now, let's say you've done all of these things, you built a plan, you've entered the crypto markets, you're, being a savvy investor, you really figured things out. A recent mistake that became obvious is people just keep their money on exchanges, because we're so used to just letting somebody else hold all of our money. We're like, banks used to hold all my money, and now I'm just going to let exchange hold all of my money. So what beginners end up doing is they don't secure their crypto holdings. They don't put them into wallets. They don't put them into secure places. They just leave it with an exchange. Like, yeah, hopefully this is going to be great. Let me give you some history. Okay, 2012, everybody was doing that. They left it on Mt. Gox. It was the main place to go. Guess what Mt. Gox did? Stole all their money. Then we were using Quadriga CX. It was a Canadian exchange. Guess what they did? Took everybody's money. Then now people were leaving on FTX. Guess what they did? Took everybody's money. People were like, Gemini's safe. Guess what they did? They're going bankrupt. Celsius, BlockFi, SchmockFi, blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Guess what they did? Took all their money. People left their gold with the US government and the banks. Guess what they did? Well, people left all their gold with banks in the 1930s. Guess what they did? Took all their gold. The countries left all of their gold with the US. Guess what they did? They took all their gold. Okay. Do you see a pattern there? If you leave it with somebody else, they're most likely just going to take it at some point. Either they're trying or not. Even if they're trying not to take it, they might come into some kind of trouble, and they'll just take it. So you gotta put it in a wallet, okay? So that's the next mistake that I want to highlight for beginners. They're so scared of wallets, and I totally get it. It's like, somebody's telling you take your life earnings and put it on like a USB stick. You're like, dude, I put photos on a USB stick, and I can't even keep that shit safe. You're telling me to put how much money onto a USB stick? Like, no. I'd rather just leave it with the bank and let the bank take it. At least I know that they have guns and stuff, right? And I get that. And I agree with you. But here's a pro tip. It's not on the USB stick. It's not on the USB stick. The USB stick is just if you're the USB stick like Ledger or Trezor or any of these devices. That's what I'm calling a USB stick. It's not on the device itself. Okay, the crypto, because remember, all these computers are running an accounting book that keeps track of how much money each person has or how many coins each person has. It's in that accounting book that it's written how many coins you have. So it's on those computers. That device is just a way to access those computers. Okay, so those 24 words or 12 words that you get with the wallet, that is the name of the game. So even if you threw the stick away, if you have those words, you can get it back. But just learning that part, like, okay, if it's not on the stick and I can back it up and I can have those words to be able to recover it, that gives me more security and safety, right? But then I know what you're thinking. You're like, yeah, but I'm a beginner. Now you want me to remember 12 words or 24 words. Okay, I write it down. What if I lose those? Well, be an adult. Like, grow the fuck up. Be an adult. What like you could say that with your bank account. What if you write your password and just hand it to the neighbor? Yeah, then you're dumb. Then that's your fault. Take some responsibility in this process. Okay? Understand that like the risk is somewhere. And if you're scared of keeping 12 to 24 words, you really got to think about, how old you are. Like, are you old enough to take care of 12 to 24 words? And the sad reality is no, most people are not old enough. They're just boys and girls walking around. I ask people, what's your password? I don't know. Okay, wait, this password runs your entire business. I don't know. What's your banking password? I don't know, it's saved. And it's like, okay, that's you literally just running around blindly around this stuff. It runs your life and you're just hoping to God everything works. Like you ask people nowadays, what's your phone number? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know what my phone number is. Yeah, it's used as a backup to my banking, to my logins, to my business, to my flights, to my life. I don't know. It's like, what are you doing? Are you watching Netflix? Like, which new Netflix series came out? Oh, well, you gotta watch Tiger King. Tiger King's really interesting. And then there's like blah, blah, blah crap series. I know that one. I watched all the episodes and I can tell you from memory the story that happens. Okay, but you can't remember 12 to 24 words. Really think about which way life is going at that point. Okay, so let's say you're like, okay, I'm gonna put it on a wallet. I understand the wallet. Select the wallet. Okay, ideally those hardware wallets are great. Then send a small amount of crypto to your wallet, and then save that address in your exchange. Okay, because the wallet has an address. When you send money to it, send a small amount, $5, $10, whatever the minimum is, and the minimum will be written when you're transacting. Send a small amount, save that address in your address book on the exchange. Then take that money that you just send it back to the exchange. Learn how to send or from the wallet to the exchange, and you will probably notice a problem there, right? Because when you're sending it back, you actually need some gas fees. You need to pay with another coin sometimes to be able to send things back. So figure out those kinks. Send $5, send it back. Once you figure out the kinks, you are a professional now. You know how to take care of yourself and protect yourself. You also will then need to save those 12 to 24 words. And I know, it's so complicated. It's like, wow, I don't want to have to deal with that. My bank never makes me save my 12 to 24 words. And I'm used to living in like a life of luxury where I don't have to remember 12 words. But okay, let me give you a pro tip on that, princess. If you can tell, I haven't had food today, so I'm in my bitey mode today. Okay, just running on coffee. But this is also the truth. Okay, I'm gonna take the sugar coating off for a lot of people. So what you can do is you can take those 12 words and you can take 11 of those words, write them down, hand them to your lawyer if you trust your lawyer, and then take one word to memorize it yourself and get your family members, trusted family members, to memorize it. Okay, the lawyer can't do anything with 11 words. Your words, your one word that everybody memorizes in case there's memory loss happening or something, combined together is your stuff. Or write it down on a physical piece of paper. I recommend 11 words written, or if it's 24 words, 23 words written and one word memorized. If you're like, I don't want to even do that, then okay, write down the 24 words, save it somewhere safe. Like, I can't tell you where it's safe. And then have a digital copy of it somewhere safe, locked away with a password and a two-factor authentication behind it. If you're like, Sim, I don't know what these words mean, please go to YouTube. Please watch our Wallets Talk. We've given so much information around all of these things. By now, you should already be pretty up to speed on that. Here's a common one, like, and this one I don't blame anybody for, but it is a common one. Like, let's say people were using Trust Wallet. Okay, it's literally called Trust Wallet. So people are like, can I trust it? Yeah, it's created by Binance. It has an app, but it doesn't have a website. So people would just go into Google and type in Trust Wallet. An ad would show up that looks like it's Trust Wallet. They click it and it asks you for these words, but it's actually a scammer site that steals all of your money, right? So picking the wallets that you can trust, that you have good faith around, that you at least understand. That's why things like Ledger and Trezor are, get the thing from the actual company and you store it there. It's going to be very, very useful, right? Now, that is my basic list. Okay, do enough research and due diligence to know what it does and know where the money's coming from. Have a strategy around that. Understand what the technology. Don't invest too much. Have a risk analysis of how much you're going to put into what. Don't try to get rich quick. Like, don't fall for scams. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Don't chase short-term gains and don't impulsively trade from emotion. Diversify your portfolio enough so that it's in different use cases. Keep up with the updates so that you can at least know what's going on with the thing. Don't trust your banks. Don't trust governments. Don't trust institutions. Have a clear investment strategy with a 1, 3, 5-year plan. Be prepared for the roller coaster and be prepared for a little bit of puke to come out once in a while and have a napkin ready for when that happens. Have an exit strategy, understand how to exit, and have a plan that you built either by yourself or with the help of somebody who can actually help you create that plan. Don't just listen to one source. Listen to a varied set of sources that tell you differing information. Secure your crypto in wallets in a safe way and follow a certain strategic procedure to make that process happen. Now I'm just going to shoot from the cuff, right? When you're a beginner in this space, understand that the probability of you losing all of your money is way higher than the probability of you making money. 5% of people make money, 95% of people lose money. Okay? Come in with that mindset. Understand that 90% of these things are scams. 10% are valuable. So the probability of you shooting at a dart and just picking it because your friend told you to do it is, it being a scam is way higher than the probability of it being something legit. But also, what I'm seeing is the vast majority of people out there, they don't even get in. They don't even look towards this space because they're like, nah, too complicated, too crazy. I'm not going to enter. I'm just going to stick to my stocks and bonds portfolio and I'm just going to hang out there. That for me is the biggest mistake. It's like, the people before World War II who just stuck to the system that was from back then lost everything. And the people who transitioned actually won out in the whole process, right? Like when I'm thinking about it, right? Like I stayed in Canada way too long. Like I was there, it was minus 30 degrees a lot of the time. I hated it. It was freezing cold. I just wished I could get out. And I would like fly to Mexico like for a week in December or something, right? Fly to Mexico and it's like, it's sun, it's ocean, it's amazing people, great experiences, so much fun. And then I would just look at the plane sitting in the airport like, why am I going back? What is wrong with me? I'm from California. I like this kind of weather. I want to live this life. Why am I going back? And the only reason I would go back is I would say, yeah, but that's what I know. I have a job. That's what I know. I know that I sell cell phones. So I'm just going to go back to selling cell phones because that's what I know. So the same thing people are doing today. The vast majority of people in the world are like, nah, this space is too crazy. Look, it crashed, blah, blah, blah. Let me just ignore it. Let me just go with what I know. I know that, me being a button pusher at a job is always going to be needed. There's no way that they'll invent some kind of artificial intelligence that'll just take my job and do it 10 times better. That's never going to happen. So I'm just going to ignore it. Oh, look at that. in social media, I just found out that there's an AI that was invented to do exactly my job. I'm just going to ignore it because I'm going to do what I know. I'm not going to learn anything new. I'm going to stay in the old paradigm. That is the biggest risk you're taking, okay? Not doing something is the riskiest thing. The biggest risk you take is not taking risk, right? Those who take risks at least get rewards. Those who do not take any risk, they do not avoid losing all their money. They still lose it. They just avoid ever having a reward of having the growth to go into this whole process, right? So like, when I took the risk of coming to Bali, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea. But I came here with a bunch of skills that I had learned. And I was like, you know, I could teach English. Like, I'll be honest, one of the plans, I heard people are sugar babies. You heard about sugar babies, lad? You could be a sugar baby. You're handsome. If you don't know what sugar babies are, right? There's wealthy people who look for, like, guys look for women, younger women, and women look for younger guys to date, that they'll take care of. You know, and I heard about that and I was like, I could do that. Worst comes to worst, I could just find somebody I can make happy and date them, and I would be a sugar baby. You know? I know that sounds dumb, but it's like, I was like, I'm gonna take the risk of Bali, and at worst I become a sugar baby. For worst I have to date somebody. Okay, that's not bad. But at least taking the risk is worth it. And if I would have never taken that risk, I would have been sitting there today, you know, in the middle of like a blizzard, blowing sideways, looking at my car going, I'm not gonna go see my friends because I have to go shovel and clean the car. So if I never took the risk, I would have never, you know, had this reward. Or the people who never took the risk of like leaving their countries got caught up in COVID, right? So life always comes back and hits you in that process. So in closing, if you're a beginner and you're learning and you made it this far in the video, you are on the right path. You know, we've already given a lot of these things in details. Please go back and watch those videos and learn how to do it. And I will not stop. As the times come, I will always, you know, when it's time to start entering, I'll educate how to enter. When it's time to stay in, I will educate how to stay in. When it's time to exit, I will educate how to exit. But, you know, don't even rely on me. What if I, you know, I don't know, fall off of a mountain or something, and then there's nobody to help you? Rely on yourself. Become independent, become knowledgeable, become skillful, and do all of these things. Now, a risk that I also want to mention is people risk just doing the same thing that they've always done and for life to continue the same way, right? If you have a job and you're doing something, remember there's a risk that your job will just disappear. Not just that you'll lose your job, which right now a lot of people are losing their jobs. Your job will just disappear. Like if you're an artist who went to art school and, you know, takes a week to come up with a painting for some kind of contract, well, we have an AI now. I just go make 100,000 paintings, and it'll take me a day to make 100,000 paintings. That'll be vastly better than what an artist could do, right? So understand that you need to teach yourself skills and teach yourself abilities. Like, I just learned how to open a coconut. I'm in Bali. I'm always sitting there sipping coconuts, you know, and then like Booty, our friend, hands me like a ripe coconut and goes, open it to get the meat out and get the water out. And I'm sitting there like an idiot with a giant knife trying to like open this thing. And I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. And he's like, let me show you the technique. You swing it, and then the weight of the head gets stuck in the coconut. You grab it from the back, and then you use leverage to pop it open. You swing it again, pop it open. Swing it again, pop it open. And the whole husk comes off. Now I know how to open a coconut. Am I going to get rich off of it? No. But do I know how to open a coconut? I sure as hell know how to open a coconut now. I know how to make coconut milk. I know how to grow coconuts. Blah, 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 blah. Teach yourself skills that could be useful in the future. If anything, teach yourself skills for the sake of learning skills. Because the more skills you learn, the more you sharpen the skill of learning skills. And then diversify how many different ways that you're actually adding value to people's lives. And, you know, if you can't figure it out, become a sugar baby. This is not life advice, but sugar babies are a thing now. Okay? There's literally, like I said in one of the talks, there's a 8-year-old who figured out that he could review, and he's not even trying to make a business. He could figure out that he could review kids' toys. He makes $30 million a year now. He's 13. He's like 12. Actually, he's less than 13. He's probably like 12 or something. And he makes 30 million US dollars reviewing toys. If that 8-year-old can figure it out, you can definitely learn how to store 24 words. Okay? So, any questions in our little powwow there?
Are all clear?
Amazing. We're clear. 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 Okay. So, yeah, hopefully you don't make these mistakes. I am not going to make the mistake of sitting here until it gets completely pitch black like last time, although it was really nice. Hopefully you've enjoyed this beautiful, beautiful day, which is today at now o'clock. And we'll see you next time. Love you as always.